Good morning. I'm here to deliver a message, and I want to start with a disclaimer by saying that tarot readings are never intended to be medical advice or legal advice or financial advice. So I'm going to encourage you to use your own intuition and take only the messages that resonate with you. And use them wisely. So now that I've smudged, let's get into it. So today I am drawing from 3 decks. Oracle of the Hidden Worlds by Lucy Cavendish. That deck was a gift to me. And then Moonology by Yasmin Boland. Another deck that was a gift to me. And then Star Codes Astro Oracle by, I'm going to read this backwards, Heather Roan Robbins. Yep. Also a gift, but this one was from my wish list, so a little bit of backstory there for you. All right, I'm going to start with Hidden Worlds and see what comes out. I am setting my intention that all messages that come through are for your highest good and your best timeline. And when I said that, a card flew out. So I'm going to take that as a sign that this is the Angel Gate, number 9, cleansing, protection, and blessing. All right, so kind of the first things that I notice about this card are the colors. I immediately see white. I immediately see blue and green. In my practice, white is for the crown chakra. I should say that not all chakra systems follow that color choice. So I'm going to ask you to use your own discernment there, but for me it's white. That is the opening of your divine channel. This is how you are connected to more heavenly realms, is through the top of your head, through your crown chakra. So the fact that you can see several white areas here, a little rainbow, is kind of speaking to something to do with the crown chakra. And I see these rays coming down, so again, that kind of reminds me of a connection point. We see this heavenly light streaming down, kind of onto I'm assuming that's a bird. It looks like a bird, but it also looks like an angel, I guess. It's not super clear. I think it's supposed to be ambiguous. I guess it's an angel because it says the card is the Angel Gate, but it really kind of looks like a bird up close. There's a beak and talons. So I know in the Bible, angels are described as being quite scary looking, actually. So maybe that's kind of a message. There's something coming through about how okay, let me see if I can translate this. There's something coming through about how even though something is angelic, it doesn't always mean that it's pretty. Okay, something else is that, okay, find the blessing in the ugly. Find the divine in the unexpected places. God also lives in the garbage. Is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing like I'm seeing like the character from Sesame Street that lives in the trash can. Is that Oscar the Grouch? But like with the heavenly light around him in my mind's eye. So this is a reminder that God, if you so believe that God created things, this is a reminder that God also created ugly things. So therefore, there is something inherently beautiful in that thing if you take the time to sort of look for that. Look for the beauty in the rubbish. These are messages that are just kind of coming across my mind. Okay. So in regards to how does that connect to the crown chakra, the color white that's coming up in this card, I'm hearing that the way to connect is by seeing the divinity in all things. Even when something does not seem divine, even when something seems ungodly, there is a reminder that source or God or whatever you want to, whatever name you want to kind of ascribe to this higher power that kind of fueled the force of creation. The super important thing that's coming through is that you have to be prepared to accept that creation does not always yield aesthetic results. But that doesn't mean that what was created is not valuable or not worthy of your attention. Yes, because God also lives in the garbage. I'm seeing like compost. Now I'm seeing compost and like worms crawling through the compost. If you kind of subscribe to any sort of Native American spirituality, they have a belief that there is the creator that exists in everything. The creative spirit exists in everything, including a worm, including a cockroach. Things that we, often dismiss as being ugly and disgusting and seemingly worthless, they do have a purpose. And their purpose is just as divine as a bumblebee. And they have just as many lessons to teach us as, something that we see as beautiful. So some other phrases that are coming through: don't judge a book by its cover. But yeah, I keep being drawn to that God lives in the garbage because, there is a whole miraculous process taking place in the garbage can when something is decomposing. That in itself is a divine process that allows for more life to flourish. Okay, so in death, there is rebirth. In decomposition, that is making the way for new energy to be, not new energy, but for new life to flourish through what is decomposing. Okay, so God lives in the garbage. That's your mantra. All right, let's see what else we got in this card. So the blue is kind of the next thing that's coming to the forefront, and that's the throat chakra in my practice. The throat chakra is all about how you communicate. It's all about how you express yourself, not only through your voice, like your speaking voice, but also your writing voice, your artistic voice. If you sing, that's, obviously the throat chakra is coming into play there. I'm being guided to say that the throat chakra is very much connected to your sacral chakra. If you think about the color wheel, orange and blue are opposites on the color wheel. If you think about the chakra system, the throat is represented as blue, and the sacral chakra, which is 2 inches below your belly button, is represented as orange. So if you think about the relation of those colors on the color wheel, there is some significance there. There is a connection there between the throat and the sacral area. Both of these chakras have a great deal to do with creative energy. They both have a great deal to do with expression, self-expression. The sacral chakra, I would say, is probably going to be more of the feminine energy of those two, which just means that it's a chakra that works best when you are in a state of flow. When you are in a state of being rather than doing, your sacral chakra is at home in that energy. The throat chakra is more of a masculine energy, which means that it is active. It is more about doing. It is about speaking your truth. It is about writing your truth, singing your truth, revealing your truth. It has a lot to do with the truth and the truth that you express through your particular creative avenue, whatever that might be. We all have different ways of speaking and writing and creating. We all have different voices, and everyone's voice is special and unique, and the things that you can say with your voice are important. I'm feeling like this might be for someone who feels like they have a blockage here. You might feel like you can't speak your truth, or you might feel like no one cares what you have to say, or you might feel like you can't find the words, or you can't put words to what you need to express. You don't know how to put it into words. Those are all different phrases that are associated with the blocked throat chakra. In order to unblock this, I'm hearing to bring more of that orange energy into your life from your sacral chakra. So being in a state of flow so that you can notice what comes up for you. The sacral chakra also has to do with fear. So when you take some time to notice what comes up for you when you are trying to be in a state of relaxation, or you're trying to be in a passive state, sometimes that causes fear for people to relax. Relaxation can be scary. And I know that might sound crazy, but I look at the way our world is structured, and there hasn't been a lot of space given for relaxing. And there's a reason for that. Because when you relax, you start realizing how disconnected you are from yourself, from others, and from the divine source. And the powers that be thrive. They can only thrive when you are in a state of disconnection from those things. So from some of my studies of what's called anthroposophy, which is a form of spirituality that Rudolf Steiner sort of channeled into. You can look into it or not, but he kind of said that there are two sources of evil. There is Lucifer, and there is, I believe they say it, Ahriman or Ahriman. Ahriman, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I've only ever read it, never really heard it spoken out loud, but both of those are a spectrum. And I can't remember which one is which, but one of them is more of the active part of evil. So like you are actively doing deeds to bring about some sort of negative cataclysmic event. And the other one is on the passive end of the spectrum, where you're allowing evil to occur. You're not actually like taking action to make it happen, but you're allowing it. And right now, our world is experiencing both ends of those spectrums. And it is because the large majority of us are disconnected from one or more of four things. You're disconnected from nature. You're disconnected from yourself. You're disconnected from community at large. And you're disconnected from something higher than yourself, like something greater than yourself. Some people call that God, divinity, whatever you feel comfortable referring to that as. But, most people feel a connection to something greater than themselves. Or you feel like something greater than yourself exists. So those are the 4 points of disconnection. And from those 4 points of disconnection, when we have a society at large suffering from that disconnection, this is when those evil forces of Lucifer and Ahriman, or whatever his name is, kind of are allowed to come through and exist. I'm thinking about that movie, the K-pop Demon Hunters, how they have to sing to keep the Han Moon sealed. There's some legitimate truth to that. And I'm hearing that it's kind of along the same lines of what Rudolf Steiner channeled, is that we have to keep people actively connected. We have to actively keep trying to connect people to nature, themselves, others, and a God source, so that we can keep those evil entities out. Okay. So use your throat chakra so that you can keep the Han Moon sealed, is what I'm hearing. All right. And then we have green. So green is the heart chakra. The heart chakra is all about both how we give and receive love. In this card, it's green. And in most, it is green. Okay. So in most chakra systems, the heart chakra is represented as green. In my practice, I tend to use 3 heart chakras. You have a left heart chakra, which is your maternal heart chakra, or your high heart chakra, and it's pink. And then there's the 4.5 heart chakra that was channeled by the founder of the Aura Soma system and chromotherapy. And that one is all about how you give love on a mass scale. So, like, if you're a podcaster or a motivational speaker, or even if you just talk to people on the internet, you're interacting with the wider world. It's kind of how you give love to a massive crowd. And that one is teal. Okay. And then kind of in the center of those is the heart chakra that I kind of consider to be green in color. And it's just kind of where the pink and the teal kind of merge to create your special brand of love that you give to the world. So with this heart chakra information, I'm hearing that your love often comes out through your throat chakra when you are speaking your truth. Also, when you are speaking your truth through your heart, through your throat chakra, it shines down into your heart chakra. So all of the chakras are connected. A blockage in one often leads to a blockage in another, because the energy cannot travel through you clearly and efficiently when you have a blockage. So attempting to keep all of your chakras kind of working together is the goal. Clearing those blockages is the goal so that you can be a clear channel for your love to express. I'm not sure if you can see here, but there's kind of like this falling into this hole, this waterfall. And then there's also this portal shape here. So chakras both give and receive energy. And kind of what I'm being reminded of here is that like this is kind of the action of giving. So this is like shining down. It's got this downward sort of like giving energy. And then this one is kind of more of a receptive energy. Like the water is not, it's like, how can I say this? The water is kind of pouring over the edge of this because it has to. Like, it has to flow here. There's not really another choice for it to kind of move like in any other direction. Like it's allowing itself to spill over the edge of this cliff. So I'm also hearing that water kind of takes the shape of whatever it comes into contact with. Sometimes it carves its own path, but in this case, it's taking the shape of what it's come into contact with. It's flowing. It's in a state of allowing itself to be led down this waterfall. This is a message about how to be in a receiving energy state. You want to be like water pouring over the edge of a cliff. That is water in a receiving state. Kind of the land is determining its course of flow rather than the water itself. So yes, this is just a reminder that chakras give and receive energy. And in order to be a channel for that energy, that divine energy, it's important to keep that channel clear. So just a quick little lesson on how to unblock your chakras. This is just like a really super basic way, but you want to, so I'm going to use my throat chakra as an example because you can kind of see that one the best, but if you feel like there might be a blockage in your throat chakra, you can kind of imagine that blockage as some sort of like gooey energy or smoky energy or whatever sand, whatever kind of texture you want to imagine that it has, but it's like dark. It's a dark color, darken color, and whatever texture suits you. But you want to like take your hand, your left hand, because that's your receiving energy hand, and you want to pull that gooey, foggy, sandy, stuck energy out. You want to imagine that you're grabbing it with your fingers and pulling it out of you. And then after you pull it out, you want to transmute it into unconditional love, so that that negative energy doesn't get attached to someone else. So you're going to pull it, and you're going to, as it's coming out, see it turning into whatever you imagine unconditional love to look like. For me, that's usually kind of like this pink, misty, beautiful fog, like something that you might find a unicorn standing in. That's kind of what I see when I clear my chakras using that technique. There are many different ways you can clear your chakras, but that's just a basic one that pretty much anybody should be able to do. All right, so I'm going to read the guidebook. I feel like that was kind of a long dive into that card. All right, so it's the number 9 card. Number 9 is usually about endings, endings of cycles. Let's see, what else can 9 be about? I would say that 9 is a number that also has a great deal to do with I don't want to say it's like a number of superiority, but it's a number of completion. So it is a number of wisdom, a number about your kind of your wisdom being complete, if that makes sense. All right. So this is what the guidebook says. And again, I kind of read the guidebook because sometimes there might be a way of saying things that resonates with someone. So when you receive this card, know now that a guardian angel is with you, caring for you and sending to you the energy of these pure waters which fall upon you now, showering you with their protection, surrounding your every particle with a charge of energy that will bless you, and most of all, cleanse from you the debris of life we carry so unconsciously so much of the time. You are being cleansed and blessed, and within these waters there can be a rebirth. Okay, and then I'm going to scroll down a little bit to this says, do not punish yourself for the flaws you perceive within yourself. Cleanse them, come to an understanding of them, and know you can be protected, blessed, purified, and accepted within the realm of the angel gate. And then there's a little prayer that goes along with this card, and it says, my soul is now bathed and cleansed with the angel's sacred waters. So I think it's interesting that this the guidebook is urging you to try to understand your flaws. There's kind of this prevailing thought in psychology that it's really difficult to release, or it's hard to overcome your flaws if you don't first accept them. Acceptance is the precursor to changing. So yeah, I'm just going to kind of leave off on that note for that particular card. So we can see what the next one says. Now I'm going to go to the Moonology deck. All right, so looking for a message from the moon. When I was a little girl, I used to be scared of the moon. I didn't like that it seemed to follow you around. If you're riding in the car or something, it's just kind of, I don't know, it was kind of scary to me. I didn't like it, but now I love to stare at the moon. It's very, very enchanting to me. All right, so there was a whole pile of cards that came out. I really only want to do one, but there were 3 that came out. So I'm just going to kind of like shuffle them, and then the one that fell out then is the one I'm going to take. Okay, so confidence is your key to success. The new moon in Leo. So if you are a Leo, or you have your moon sign in Leo, this might be a message specifically for you. I think it's interesting that the moon is dark, yet the lion is glowing still, which kind of speaks to me about your inner light, allowing your inner light to shine in the darkness. Be a light for others in the darkness. I'm also being drawn to a quote that I have seen recently that says, if you look around and everything is dark, then it means that you are the light. You are the source of light. So yeah, maybe that's something to think about. So in this card, the colors that I'm seeing obviously are black, yellow, and I'm going to call that orange. Okay, so that's going to refer again to the sacral chakra that we talked about with the first card. And then the solar plexus chakra is the yellow, represented by the yellow. And then the black color represents the earth star chakra. The earth star chakra is not inside of your body, your physical body. It's 12 inches below your feet. And it is the chakra that holds your ancestral lineage. It's how you're connected to the earth. It's how you're connected to your ancestors. It's just kind of like your connection point to the past. Let me put it that way. It's kind of a primeval sort of feeling. Just as your crown chakra is kind of what connects you to heavenly realms, your earth star chakra is what connects you to everything. They both connect you to everything, just different ends of the spectrum. So the earth star chakra is kind of a shadowy place. As you know from our ancestors, we get both blessings and curses. I would say that generational trauma is held in the earth star chakra. And many of us in this lifetime are on a mission to clear generational trauma. And I think that this card is affirming the importance of doing that. Doing it with confidence, because I just saw that word confidence. Knowing that you are doing important work, so that the next several generations can live in a healthier way. That should give you the confidence to keep up that work. So the solar plexus chakra is all about your willpower. It's about how you take action. It's about how you do your work in the world. And I tend to think of the solar plexus chakra as being a masculine chakra because, again, it has that active energy to it. It is part of your gut feelings, your gut reactions. It's a part of the gut, like your intuitive gut. Because when you feel anxiety, you might feel it in your solar plexus chakra. I say that between the solar plexus chakra and the sacral chakra, that is where your sense of fight, flight, freeze, fawn comes in. The solar plexus chakra holding the kind of the fight and flight response, and the sacral chakra holding the freeze and fawn response. So noticing times when you do feel anxiety and you're feeling less than confident, noticing where that occurs in your body, like how it feels in your body, the certain sensation that you get when you're feeling some anxiety, like where is it located and what kind of sensation is it? So getting really comfortable with being able to feel your negative feelings in this physical kind of way is another important thing for helping you clear blockages in the chakras. When you allow yourself to feel those negative feelings, like when you allow yourself to notice them and to study them even though it is very uncomfortable. Um, you really learn a lot about yourself, and you learn a lot about what your needs are, and you learn what becomes non-negotiable for you. Um, and I feel like a lot of us in this world are probably in a place where we don't know what our needs are. Um, because maybe you've never been allowed to express your needs. Maybe you've never been allowed to have needs. And, as adults, we have a responsibility to know ourselves better so that we can show up in a more enlightened way than just what we've been programmed for. Okay, so not only is the lion for the sign of Leo, but if you also kind of think of its significance in the animal kingdom, it's obviously at the top of the food chain. It is what I would consider an apex predator. But I'm also hearing that the lion is still not invincible. It still has, even though it is a predator, the lion also has predators. So kind of the message in that is that it's important to recognize the difference between confidence and arrogance. Arrogance is confidence that has gone overboard, obviously. And there's a fine line. But I'm also hearing that arrogance ruins success. So you have to find a way to hold the balance between true confidence and not allowing it to descend into arrogance. All right, so I'm going to read the guidebook. New moon in Leo. This card heralds the start of a new cycle for you, when you're going to look and feel more gorgeous, more in the spotlight, more like you have something worth showing off. If you want someone's attention, this card says it's coming. However, this may not happen all by itself. You have to be willing to do your bit. That means being proud of who you are and what you have to offer. Think of yourself as the king or the queen of the jungle and carry yourself accordingly. This card is also a great omen if you're asking about a creative project you're working on. Alternatively, it can herald good news or a new start for your children. It's reminding you to make time to have fun, because fun is divine. Fun is a gift from the gods, or God, or the divine spirit, or the holy creator, or whatever you subscribe to. Just know that fun in and of itself is spiritual. Leo is the sign of the big and brave-hearted lion and flirting. This energy loves itself, and so should you. Be proud of who you are. So that is your message from the Moonology deck. And let's now check in with the Star Codes Astro Oracle for the last message. And then I'm going to do a little summary to close out the reading. And here's their card. Sun, the source, number 18. So there's that 9 again. In numerology, 18 reduces to 9. 1 plus 8 equals 9. We kind of already talked about the meaning of 9. It represents a completion. It represents a wisdom beyond your years. Maybe that's a good way to say that. I think it's also interesting that we had the lion in this card because Leo's ruler is the sun. And I'm seeing the rainbow, the color wheel. We talked about the color wheel earlier. So there you go. There's your color wheel. You can see the orange and the blue across from each other. I think it's interesting too that this sun is represented as a compass, also as sacred geometry. So this is, kind of going back to the sun is the source of all things in this particular incarnation that we're in. If we didn't have the sun, then we wouldn't have life. And I'm thinking about like how many cultures throughout history have worshipped the sun because they intuitively knew how important the sun was for our survival. They knew that without the sun, we would have nothing. In terms of kind of what we've been discussing, I think that this is again speaking to divine connection, and how that divine connection expresses through you. How can you be more in your sunny energy? How can you be in a state of giving life and love to the world? How can you reflect your best self outward? How can you reflect all of your colors? So yeah, let's go to the guidebook on this one. Curious to know what it says in regards to the sun card. And I will also point out that in the traditional tarot deck, the sun card is number 19. In this deck, it's number 18, but number 19 in numerology reduces to a 1. 1 plus 9 equals 10. You can either keep the 10, which is an incredibly powerful number, or you can reduce that to 1, which is new beginnings. Yeah. All right, in your natal chart, the sun symbolizes the core of your personality, your life force, ego, and consciousness. The sign and aspects of the sun describe how you express the basic vital energy. From our earthly perspective, the sun circles the zodiac once a year, but in truth, the sun is the center point around which all of the planets revolve. All other bodies in our solar system reflect the sun's light, and it is unimaginably huge. A million Earths could fit within the sun. All right, so your action to take with this charge is the sun's light shines through the teacher, actor, lover, leader, those who use their enthusiasm, warmth, and charisma for a common good. It's time for you to take center stage. Notice what feeds your vitality and work with it. And then as you let the sun flow through you, your health will improve. So, okay, this is also talking about something we just talked about with this card. The shadow of the sun is narcissism. So it is challenging you to make sure you don't fall into the trap when you get to a point of success of saying, I'm the center of the universe and the world revolves around me and no one else is capable of holding the spotlight quite like I am. You cannot demand respect. You have to earn it. And that is the challenge of the sun card. Watching that shadow part of yourself when you do find success, not letting it kind of drown you in narcissism and arrogance and entitlement. I'm also thinking about the story of Icarus. Icarus had something really special. He had a pair of wings that actually enabled him to fly. And because he could fly, he was on the verge of saving his own life. He was trapped inside of a maze and couldn't figure out how to get out. And his father made him the wings made with wax and feathers, and Icarus flew out of the maze. And he was almost to freedom, but he flew too close to the sun and fell into the sea instead. So, a cautionary tale for you about what happens when you fly too close to the sun. You'll get burned. Your wings will melt. Okay. So, to wrap this up, we had the Angel Gate. Confidence is your key to success. And the Sun card. So what I'm seeing for all of these as kind of a whole picture. Allowing yourself to be cleansed is kind of the key to unlocking this state. And then being in this state is the key to unlocking this state. The cleansing of your chakras is life-changing, is what I'm hearing. If you can imagine that your energy is becoming unblocked and unburdened and it is releasing, it will allow you to move into a new state of mind. It will allow you to establish new habits and patterns. It is a timeline shift. It will shift you onto a new timeline where you are walking into your highest and best chapter. So make it a priority to cleanse your chakras as often as you possibly can. When I first learned about chakra clearing, it was something that I was doing every night before I went to bed. It's just part of my sleep routines. I've kind of fallen away from it as I have become more complacent in my spirituality. But perhaps it's a reminder for me too to go back to that practice of looking out for my energetic hygiene, keeping my channel clear and clean so that it can boost me up into higher and better worlds. So I hope that you will take a moment to cleanse your chakras this evening when you're going to bed, or now if you feel like it, so that you can find your confidence and move into the spotlight that you were always destined to have. So I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you again in the next reading. Thank you.